Hey, welcome back to Peabody Communications. I'm Jordan Peabody. Today I want to talk to you just quickly about style standards. There's a bunch of different style standards that you can follow out there, everything from the Little Brown Handbook, which I know was popular for me when I was in high school, to the Chicago style, great for college level writing, AP News style, which is fantastic if you're going to write for things like news outlets, TV stations, news radio stations, that kind of thing. But really for the workplace, for the office, the best style standard for you to follow is the Gregg Reference Manual. Now in its 10th edition. The Gregg has been a great style standard for business writers like you for at least the last 3 or 4 decades. As I mentioned, it's currently in its 10th edition. That means it's updated itself on things like email writing, writing for the web. This is really built for the writing that you do at the office. It's going to set you straight on everything from how to write an email to a letter to a memo, reports, minutes, policies, and procedures. It is a fantastic guide for all things related to the workplace and writing. In fact, there's 3 major sections that you're going to find extremely useful and helpful if you pick up a copy of the Gregg. First section, grammar. Maybe you've forgotten what an infinitive is from school. Maybe you've even forgotten what it means to split an infinitive. No big deal, the Gregg will set you straight on what the term means, infinitive, then it will explain to you what it means to split the infinitive, and even better, the Gregg will show you when it's okay for you to bend or break that grammar rule, split the infinitive, and when you probably shouldn't do it. So that's helpful and useful to keep in mind. There's another big section in the Gregg on punctuation. So if you can't remember when you should be using a comma, or when you should be using a semicolon, the Gregg will set you straight. In fact, it's going to show you many ways where you can avoid having to use that pesky mark, the semicolon. Third major section that I find useful in the Gregg is a section on word choice or word usage. So if you are hounded by pesky issues like when to use affect with an A versus effect with an E, the Gregg is going to put both words side by side, and even though they're spelled similar, kind of even sound similar, the Gregg will redefine both for you and kind of compare and contrast them, show you when you should be using which word in which context. That alone, to me, was worth the cost of the book. So you can either pick this thing up through eBay or Amazon.com. Again, it's the Gregg Reference Manual. Don't forget the second G there on the end of the name. You want to pick up, if you can, the 10th edition of the manual. You could go back probably as late as the 9th edition, but anything before that is so old and out of date, it's really more like a paperweight or a boat anchor. I keep hearing rumors, rumblings that there's going to be an 11th edition, but the latest that I've heard, they're going to hold off on the most current edition of the Gregg until 2011. So in the meantime, see if you can get your hands on a copy of the 10th edition of the Gregg. If you don't want to pay full price, go out to Amazon's marketplace, see if you can get a copy of a used manual. You should be able to pick up the hard copy version of the Gregg between anywhere from about $25 up to $50 brand new. Or your other option is to go out to Gregg.com. That's McGraw-Hill's website specifically set for the Gregg. And out at that website you can go and purchase an online version of the manual, which is handy. If you don't like having this big bulky book sitting around on your desk, go out on the website, access the online version, and then you're in good shape. You don't have to take up any desk space whatsoever, and it's still got every single bit of the Gregg there out on the website. You're only going to pay about $15 a year if you access the online site, so if you do the math over time, you're actually going to pay more for the online version, but it can be extremely useful to have that all compact and right there on your computer screen. Hope you found this helpful. I'm going to continue to put more and more writing tips up on the web. Until then, keep checking back with PeabodyCommunications.com. I'm Jordan Peabody, and until next time, happy writing.